Now at 5, we hear from the Southeast Kansas deputy who saved the life of a woman hit by a train.
The White House announces a new strategy to battle the Omicron surge. I'm Natalie Brandt with the steps the administration is taking.
And the struggle of food banks trying to meet demand.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A Labette County, Kansas deputy shares his story of saving a woman. This is KOAM News at 5. Yesterday, we told you about a woman who was hit by a train and how the training of the deputy helped save her life. Sunday night, Deputy Gabe Vitt was on a regular call when he heard over the radio a woman had been hit by a train. When he arrived on the scene, he immediately rendered aid. The victim's leg had been severed, and Vitt used a ratchet strap to help control the bleeding. He asked the woman several times to keep her alert until medical teams arrived on the scene. Vitt responded to the area within minutes.
It's not like I beat the other units there by 10 minutes or anything like that. It was probably maybe 30 seconds. At least that's what it felt like. But I'm glad I could get there whenever I got there, and I'm glad that I could have helped her.
Vitt has been a full-time deputy for less than a year. With Christmas and other holidays approaching, a lot of people are expected to travel in the next few weeks. But the Omicron variant of COVID-19 is raising concerns for health officials and locals in Southeast Kansas. To ensure residents are holiday safe for their visits, the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas today handed out at-home tests in Pittsburgh.
With the direction that we provide those within our communities. So we anticipate we'll have an ongoing supply. We'll be able to order more, and so we did get kind of a big inventory in the beginning, so we thought this would be a great way, especially before the holiday, to get the home tests in people's hands.
Now, anyone who receives a negative test result should be clear, but with a positive result, the health center recommends isolating until getting another test from a health department or doctor's office. The federal government says U.S. population growth is the lowest it's been since the founding of our nation. And they say COVID is one of the leading factors for the decline. This comes as the Omicron variant is now sweeping all across the country, forcing the Biden administration to respond. Natalie Brandt has more details from the White House.
President Biden is encouraging Americans to take necessary precautions as the Omicron variant threatens holiday plans.
We all want this to be over, but we're still in it. And this is a critical moment. We also have more tools than we ever had before.
The president announced he's ordered the military to have medical personnel ready to help hospitals overrun with new cases.
That's 1,000 military doctors, nurses, and medics. We've already started moving medical teams. They've already landed in Wisconsin and Indiana this week.
The government is also expanding its vaccination program to include additional pop-up locations, and it's expanding its testing program by adding federal testing sites and purchasing 500 million at-home rapid tests to send to Americans for free starting in January.
We'll be getting these tests to Americans for free, and we'll have websites where you can get them delivered to your home.
The administration's health experts say testing and wearing masks around strangers are ways to protect yourself, with travel and family gatherings ramping up this week. The experts say loved ones can get together safely if everyone is vaccinated and boosted.
You're going to be reading about breakthrough infections because this virus is extremely good at transmitting from person to person. But vaccination and boosting clearly is the answer to protecting yourself.
Data from the CDC shows that unvaccinated individuals are 8 times more likely to be hospitalized and 14 times more likely to die from COVID-19. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the White House.
Officials say the first known death from the Omicron variant in the U.S. claimed the life of an unvaccinated person in Houston, Texas. Fairly mild temperatures out there today, Doug Heddy.
Yeah, not a bad day for us today. We had quite a bit of sunshine. Temperatures pretty good into the mid 50s for highs. We do have a few mid and upper level clouds which are streaming through, but all in all, it's pretty quiet. So if you're getting a jump on travel over the next day or two, we look pretty good outside across the Central Plains. Temperatures, most of us upper 40s to lower 50s right now. So it looks nice as we drop back through the evening hours. It is going to be a cold night. We're going to slide back through the 40s, 30s, so down near freezing by about midnight, and then most of us will bottom out into the upper 20s for overnight lows. Big warm up the next few days. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
See you then. Jurors are in the second day of deliberations in the manslaughter trial of the suburban Minneapolis police officer who says she meant to use her taser instead of her gun when she shot and killed black motorist Dante Wright. Jurors today asked the judge what to do if they can't agree on verdicts. The judge says they have to keep deliberating. Still ahead, the trouble finding a food favorite.
The latest shortage has people on the hunt for cream cheese. I'm Naomi Ruckham, and I'll tell you how it's affecting holiday desserts.
And the challenge for food banks trying to help families in need. Topping today's Health Watch, Pardes Biosciences says it's developed a new COVID-19 antiviral pill. The drug maker says the pill does not require a booster, and phase 1 testing should be completed early next year. The FDA has yet to authorize a coronavirus treatment pill, but is currently reviewing new medications from Merck and Pfizer. Getting less structured, more enjoyable. Exercise may help with sustainable weight loss more than strict workouts. A new study published just found that frequent periods of feel-good movement were more likely to offer long-term health benefits. This was compared to long sessions on the treadmill. Researchers say the key is to move more and more often. Doctors should prescribe fewer antidepressants and for shorter periods of time. That's according to a study out of the UK. Study authors came to this conclusion because of long-lasting withdrawal symptoms and possible side effects associated with the drugs. They also suggested while the drugs may help severely depressed patients, the cons could outweigh the pros for those with mild to moderate depression. Well, the holidays can be stressful, and according to a new survey, 1 in 5 parents say their holiday stress hurts their child's enjoyment of the season. The survey from the University of Michigan also finds 1 in 4 parents admit to setting over-idealistic holiday expectations, and that twice as many moms are stressed out as dads. But nearly all the parents said the holidays are generally a happy time for their families. During this holiday season, we highlight the importance of food banks and food pantries and the thousands of families who depend on them. Food pantry visits are up 30% since the start of the pandemic. About 42 million Americans are experiencing food insecurity. Reporter Jamie Yukas has more.
Curry chicken chow mein. Nice.
Once or twice a month, Bridget and Kevin Littlefield visit the Open Door Pantry food shelf in Eagan, Minnesota.
Does a box of cereal go pretty far?
Hey. Bridget works full-time in a restaurant, and Kevin is semi-retired. They have 2 teenage daughters and a niece at home.
You know, sometimes you need it, you know what I mean, just to get you through to the next payday.
We have about 8 to 10 million pounds of food in this warehouse.
Million with an M.
Yes.
Allison O'Toole is the CEO of Second Harvest Heartland, one of the largest food banks in the country.
Out of here, we can get 3 things.
Second Harvest Heartland supplies Open Door Pantry, where the Littlefields go.
When you look at people like the Littlefields, I think one of the things that strikes me is that the mother works for a restaurant. She works in food service, and she needs to be able to still feed her family and can't.
That's right.
Are there dozens, hundreds of families like that?
Thousands of families like that.
Inflation isn't helping the situation. According to the USDA, grocery prices were 5.4% higher last October than they were the year before, and the price of meat has increased double digits. O'Toole says it's leaving families strapped, and it's also impacting food banks who source their own food.
I think there's this idea that because you're a charity, you must be able to source for free.
We don't. We've purchased more food than ever before.
Anything out of here you want?
Back at the Open Door Food Pantry, the Littlefields are grateful.
You should never feel embarrassed or ashamed. You know, if you need help, come get it, you know, and then when you're able to, you give back, kind of like what we do.
Because at times, Littlefield says we all need that little extra help.
You guys take care.
Thank you,
sweetie. Stay warm out there.
Yeah.
Jamie Yukas, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota.
A lot of four-staters rely on food banks, and this time of year, budgets can be especially stressed. A lot of bills right now. That's why our sister station, Fox 14, is conducting its 18th annual Feed the Four States food drive. And we're collecting non-perishable food items for area food pantries like Crosslines and Wesley House during this season of high demand. You can also make a monetary donation online at koamnewsnow.com/feed. That food drive is going to continue through the end of the year till December 31st. A little bit later, a survey on whether Americans expect their personal finances to improve, worsen, or stay the same next year.
Plus, we're really going to warm up the next few days. We could be pressing record highs. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it turned out to be a nice Tuesday for us today. Temperatures into the mid-50s for highs, and we have plenty of sunshine across the region. We are actually going to see a pretty big warm up as we go through the next few days. We're going to pop into the 60s and then most likely 70s later on this week. We do have a weak system on Friday. It doesn't look like it's going to produce much for us, maybe just some clouds and then swing some fronts through. Another system on Sunday. Of course, you can get my long range forecast on my month-long blog. That is KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, temperatures right now, most of us are sitting upper 40s to lower 50s, which isn't that bad, but it's going to be a chilly night as we drop back through the evening hours. The winds are very light. They're kind of switching out of the north as we have a weak little front that is sinking through. So we're going to have light northerly winds throughout the overnight hours tonight, and then they'll swing right back out of the south for us tomorrow. Looks pretty good. Evening daylight hours are now extending, believe it or not, which is kind of nice. Nice shot of the sunset. Currently sitting at 49 west, northwesterly winds at about 5. Humidity is at 59%. Through the evening hours, we'll slide back through the 40s, 30s, cold night, upper 20s for overnight lows. But again, there's not much going on outside for us. We have a few little clouds which have been skirting through. But besides that, you can see this weak little front dropping in. There's not a whole bunch going on across the Central Plains. Out to the west, we have this ridge of high pressure. This is going to give us nice weather over the next couple days. And then right behind it, we have this wave, which is going to rotate through by Friday. Again, it doesn't look like it's going to have much in the way of moisture, but it will give us some clouds and then affect our temperatures just a little bit. Let's go through the overnight hours tonight. Upper 20s for overnight lows. So a cold night. We get southerly winds back tomorrow. We're going to warm near 50 by noon, and then we should go into the upper 50s for afternoon highs. So really not a bad day. 28 to start, 51 by noon, high temp right around 57. We'll have those south winds at about 5 to 10. Tomorrow night still looks pretty good. We are going to get some clouds rotating in late tomorrow night. So as we go into Thursday, a lot of clouds throughout the day, but temperatures look pretty good as we go into lower 60s for highs. Again, Thursday night into Friday with that next wave, a lot of clouds, but temperatures stay pretty good by the time we head into Christmas Eve, which is just 3 days away. Look at this, Christmas Eve, temperatures near 70. We're going to be really close to record highs. We get a cold front that rolls in on Christmas Day, so temperatures a little bit cooler, but still pretty good. Rain chances will start to sneak in by the time we head into Sunday. We have another system on Tuesday, and then we're waiting to see if a system gets together right around next Thursday that could possibly give us rain to snow. You can see the rain picking up here on the model. So a much more active week by the time we head into New Year's week. All right, 57 for us tomorrow, 61 on Thursday, up to 72 on Christmas Eve. So the record is 73. So we're going to make a real run at it. 66 on Christmas Day. So it's not going to feel like Christmas whatsoever. And then we cool down a bit by Sunday into Monday. Haven't even had really a flake of snow this year, which is kind of crazy. Very atypical for this deep. Yeah.
And we've had a lot of warm weather this month.
We really have.
Thanks, Jack. Coming up, what's behind a cream cheese shortage? First, though, we honor a local veteran. Private First Class Kenneth White served in the U.S. Army. His hometown, Joplin. And we are proud to salute Private First Class Kenneth White, tonight's four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, with the new year comes a fresh start, but a majority of Americans do not expect their finances to improve in 2022. According to a bank rate survey, nearly half of adults think their financial situation will stay the same, and about 1 in 4 believe it will get worse. Most say they're concerned about the impact of inflation. It might cost you a little more for your next international getaway. Passport book fees are going up $20 starting December 27th. Next week, fees for travelers 16 and older will be $165 for first-time passport holders. The price to renew a passport will be $135. The State Department says it's now processing passport applications in 8 to 10 weeks. Restaurants have been hit hard during the pandemic with shutdowns and a lack of workers, and the industry continues to struggle with another popular ingredient in short supply. Naomi Ruckham explains.
Food shortages are now spreading to local bagel shops. That's because it's hard to find cream cheese.
It kind of just hit it. It was just like all of a sudden out of the blue.
Bo's Bagels in New York usually buys cream cheese in bulk from distributors like F&H Dairies. But on this day, the cooler was nearly empty.
Usually this is just wall-to-wall bulk cream cheese all along the pallet racks.
That's forcing bagel shop owners to look for it in grocery stores, which can be a challenge. Sometimes there's plenty available, and other times the shelves are bare.
The aisle for cream cheese was completely empty, so which was really a shock.
Kraft Heinz, which makes Philadelphia cream cheese, says demand has increased since the pandemic started. This year, the company has shipped 35% more product than last year.
Having a hard time finding cream cheese on shelves means having a hard time putting cheesecakes on tables.
Kraft ran a promotion last weekend actually suggesting alternative holiday desserts for people who can't find their product. The company even offered a $20 reimbursement to 18,000 customers.
Consumers are going to have to be patient with the sporadic shortages that they might be seeing for different products.
Cornell University professor Christopher Wolf says labor and supply chain issues continue to hurt much of the food industry.
We're going to be well into 2022, if not, most of 2022, I think, before we can get recovered from this. But the $64,000 question is what's going to happen with COVID and us getting back to some semblance of a normal labor market.
At this point, it's just not clear when the cream cheese shortage will ease. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Hard seltzer company Vizzy wants to take the edge off any delays or cancellations. The brand is offering 5,000 free gift cards for their products if travelers experience a flight delay. The company is taking online registrations through Thursday for the Bubbly Boost. Final check of the weather forecast up next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, the latest on the Biden administration's plans for battling the Omicron variant of COVID. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to speak with some of the people picking up at-home testing kits in Pittsburgh, free COVID tests. Plus, Missouri healthcare workers are dealing with burnout as they battle COVID-19. We'll get more on that. And the Chiefs put more players on the COVID list. Yeah, it's growing rapidly. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Hey, here's more proof that Santa really gets around this time of year. In addition to Dancer and Prancer, it seems the jolly old elf is also hanging out with sharks and stingrays and 2,000 other fish species at the Aquario Aquarium in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. That is well south of the North Pole. Santa, or at least one of his helpers, wore a familiar red suit during his scuba dive, where he was joined by Mrs. Claus and other Christmas characters feeding the aquatic creatures. Getting handouts from Santa is a good sign that none of these fish are on the naughty list anyway. Ho, ho, hold your breath, Mr. Claus.
Santa and Mrs. Santa, they need to stop messing around. They got a lot of work to do this week.
Yeah, but I think they're in good shape. I'm sure that they are not going to be getting COVID or anything like that. So.
I hope not.
All right.
That would be really bad.
That would be awful.
All right, weather-wise, yeah, it looks pretty good. It's going to be cold tonight. We're going to drop back into the upper 20s, but we start to warm things back up over the next few days. 57 tomorrow, 61 on Thursday. Look at Christmas Eve, 72 degrees near record highs. Christmas Day, 66, and then next week starts to get a little more interesting.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that means changes are coming. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.